Oh, man. We're up. Oh. This is my favorite toy. Our new Practical Sportsman NRA Clays target throwing trailer has 25 traps on it. Last week we showed you a couple of these shooting stations with the targets. This week I want to show you one of my favorite. This has the targets to throw the trap throwers to throw the targets up almost vertically. It's called the springing teal. Very difficult to hit until you get the hang of it. We're going to show you this, John Ford's big walleye, duck calling, and a lot more. So stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost with tips on how you can become a more practical sportsman. The eerie cry of loons through the early morning haze. We're at Gunasio Lake in northern Manitoba. Michigan walleye pro Mark Martin joined us there to find the walleye in July and to teach us some of the techniques of how to catch them.
Okay, when you put your live bait rig down, you always want to slowly let it down in 5-10 foot increments, and until it hits bottom. You don't want to just let it plummet right to the bottom, otherwise it can float up and tangle around your main line. So you kind of just let it down a little at a time, and then once it's on bottom, you feel it, you keep your bail open.
The open bail allows you to give the fish line when you feel the first hit. Mark was using a Lindy-type rig, a walking sinker in front of a swivel and leader, baited with a crawler or leech. That's a classic walleye rig. Now, another rig we learned from Mark is the weight on a wire called a bottom bouncer. This one is made by Northland Tackle. A crawler harness with a spinner is set behind it, and that wire keeps the rig bouncing along the bottom without getting snagged. And that's where the walleye usually are. They're right on the bottom. Now, remember 2 years ago, John Ford's big walleye? Well, he hooked the biggest walleye from our boat at ice out. 2 days earlier, this lake was covered with ice, but this walleye was 29 inches, and John made the unbelievable decision to toss it back. He said that he'd catch a bigger one, but it wasn't until our second trip, mid-July 1991 with Mark Martin. I'm behind the camera.
Got another good one?
From what Mark tells me, this is very good. Oh my goodness. Guys, someone's got a net here or what?
Yeah, grab that net. No, I can grab him. I'll get him. Just get ready to drop down in case he goes on me. Drop him down. I can grab him.
It's a little tense, I think. Do you think we should get a net at this point?
No, he's
folks?
He's hooked good. I'll grab him right in the next pass here. He's just upside down. I was just trying to coax him. You just swing him over to me a little bit.
Swing him over, sir. Oh, Mark! Good job.
Hander.
That's a heck of a way to land him, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey, where's your camera? Your still
That's
camera
excellent.
Too.
Yeah, it's in my
I knew right
in
out.
my bag right here.
I knew right out
You
here
could tell
there
that was huge, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, look
man.
at the size of that walleye.
Here's your
That's
master
incredible.
angler.
Here.
Oh, congratulations.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, that was something.
Just
Underneath
underneath
here?
the membrane. Yeah, and pinch right there. And
Okay.
Okay, John.
Here we go. Well,
Go ahead. Pitch him over.
I don't know if we're gonna throw this one over. We're gonna.
What size is it? Why don't you measure it?
Yeah, let's measure it.
Well, John's biggest walleye in 1990 measured 29 inches. He said he'd catch a bigger one to mount. In 1991, to my surprise, he did it.
right there.
Oh, looks
That's
like
it?
31 and a half inches.
31 and a half.
No, 30
You
and
take-
a half.
Well, from the jaw here.
31 and a half.
Oh, yeah?
31 and a half, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's great.
Might want to put that one on the wall.
Yeah. What are you
Yeah.
going to do with it, John?
I think we'll put this one on the wall. We're not going to let this opportunity get by again. This is great. This is amazing.
Wait till you get a bigger one this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
No,
When you get a bigger one this afternoon, you'll wish you didn't.
I waited a whole year to get a bigger one.
Well, I know, but
Well, Jim Budd got the picture on this day. Mark Martin's walleye knowledge, coupled with John Ford's fishing skills, produced a well-deserved trophy. The current issue of the Practical Sportsman magazine has a great painting of a walleye chasing some smelt. This was painted by Bob Miller of Fife Lake, one of my all-time favorite fish paintings. John Ford's walleye, by the way, is being mounted by Tim Hayes. You'll be able to see it next weekend at the Practical Sportsman Fair. We'll have it on display here at the museum. We print some of the good pictures we get from entrants in here, and other good pictures we put in our TV trophy book. Let's look at several very impressive 21-pound lake trout. This one caught by Jerry Janicek of Brutus, fishing off the tip of the thumb last July with a spin and glow. Now this 41-incher was caught by Joe Cortopassi from St. Louis, Missouri, trolling a spoon off Holland in August. And here's 11-year-old Nick Rydell from Shawano, Wisconsin, hoisting a 21-pound laker he caught in Lake Superior off Alger County, trolling a jig and fly in late July. And for those of you who have anniversaries at this time of year, John Thorington from Otisville has a story about his 42-inch anniversary lake trout he caught on a wobble glow on July 1st in Lake Huron.
Well, there really wasn't too much bringing it in, just getting there and fishing. The day we were supposed to go, a tornado showed up the last of June, and we didn't get a chance to fish, so he booked us for the next week, and that day happened to be my anniversary, so I brought this home for my wife for her anniversary present.
And she was probably really thrilled, huh?
Well, I was. She didn't think much of it, but I still do.
So this fish, did it kind of get you in trouble a little bit, or?
No, there was no problem there. It's just that's just how it worked out.
Were you looking at your wife over here?
No, she's in home.
She's at home, okay.
Right.
She wasn't going to come down and share this anniversary fish with you?
No, she had me bring my uncle instead.
Okay, well that's good. Well, John Thorington, you got a great lake trout, 42-incher, 20 pounds, 1 ounce. We got to get over. Well, sometimes spouses don't share in the joys of our hunting and fishing, but if they tolerate our activities, we're happy. We're also happy to have John's trophy lake trout on display in our museum for the summer. You know, it's almost his anniversary again, so let's make John Thorington our Practical Sportsman Lake Trout Angler of the Week. Being a practical type of sportsman, you probably wished you had a shop teacher like Everett Smith. All you guys are lucky. They aren't making little goofy boxes to put recipes in, and I can't even remember what else I made in school. Everett, I'm sure it was something to hang a hat on, or...
Well, we made a lot of small stuff when I was in school too, and I find when we make stuff like this, the kids are excited about it. They want to learn, and everything I want to teach them, they're excited about learning anyway. So once they get started, I just get out of their way and let them go.
Stuff like this. What he's talking about is bows, tree stands, things that hunters would build.
Right, and
which is kind of a dead giveaway as to what your passion is.
Right. Well, you know, the community that we're in, so many of the kids love to hunt anyway, and so if I can incorporate everything I want them to learn in the things that they want to have, teaching is fun and learning is fun, and so that's what's happening. You're going to see some here in just a little bit.
Let's take a look at what you have. I thought when I first came here, oh neat, they're making badminton rackets.
What these are, I'll jump over on this side. What these are, laminated fish nets, and we make our own jigs, and we've made several sizes. And we start out with thin material, and we put it in a tube that we soak it overnight, and then we clamp it together while it's wet, and it forms, and we put glue in it, and they snap off like this. That's how we pull them off in this stage. And then we take them to the next stage where we router the corners and finish them off, put a little wedge in there, and you've got a real nice laminated fish net.
Oh, I guess.
Here's a little smaller one for those brook trout fishermen that like the smaller ones to get back in the brush.
Doug Tabor would like this. He catches very small fish. That's a private joke, somebody on our staff. But no, that is great. Fish nets with the handle, what was that?
That's just rawhide.
Rawhide on the handle?
Right.
And of course, you have a case here. This is the type of thing that many industrial arts classes teach, building a case for something.
Right. And well, the nice thing about these are all dovetailed and they're kind of special.
But what's in it?
Look here, we have the laminated bow that is made by the students, and they make their own case like this. It's pressed, real dense foam that keeps it in there so it can't move around and protects it.
Now, whose bow is this?
This belongs to Wes Eppert. He's the young man
come
right
up
there.
here a second. You built this bow, custom fit to your hand.
Yep.
Have you used it yet for bow hunting?
No, I just made it this year.
Okay. What pound is it?
60.
60. Great. And I see you have here the Ovid LC High School Big Buck Awards.
Yeah, the Big Buck Award. We have a lot of fun with our students, and we even meet in the fall early before school at 6:30. We watch hunting video while it's still dark. When it gets light, we have a 3D kind of a shootout here. And we had about 24 students show up at 6:30 in the morning.
No kidding.
And we have a good time. We're not just out into the kiln. We just have fun. It's good camaraderie together. And the guy who gets the biggest buck gets his name put on this plaque for the year. He receives a knife. It's engraved and something he can have for a long time. But we have a good time. We have a lot of fun with what we do here.
Now, if you wonder how bows are built in a high school class with these kids, you start off with...
We start off with rough sawn material, and we have a whole bunch of species here. And these pieces have already been milled down with our mill here. And we have rosewood, we have ebony. We get some foreign woods, and we also use some local woods like oak and black walnut. And each student, as you'll see in just a little while, all the separate bows that are made, everyone chooses the woods they like and sets the color pattern and laminates that together. And then they start from that point and go on.
Now here is, this is fiberglass here?
These are fiberglass pieces, and we buy our fiberglass from a company called Bingham Archery. It's out of Utah, and they're wonderful people to work with. Every time we've called, they've spent just any amount of time that we wanted to on the phone. They're great people.
So how do you turn this into a limb?
Okay, we've got, again, fiberglass. We've got a maple laminate there, a wedge, a maple laminate, and then another sandwich piece of fiberglass. We mix these resins together. Here's the epoxy resin. Those are mixed. Each piece is coated and no dry spots. All faces are coated and put together. Then they're put in this jig. And we made the jig, and we made the oven. You'll see the oven in just a minute. But as they're put in here, this arc right here is the shape of the limb. And this piece right here that you see is just a piece of fire hose from our local fire department. We plug the ends, and one end here you can see has an air fitting in it. Okay?
Oh, I see, so you blow it up.
After we push this together, drive the pins through, we hit this with air, and it just presses everything right down against that curve. We set it in this oven here.
This box here, this is an oven?
Right, and it has a thermostat to set the temperature, and we run it about 190 degrees, and we leave it in overnight. And when we come back in the morning, then we pull this thing apart. Chris, you want to grab half of that?
So this is what happens in the morning. You build these, of course, one at a time then. You have
Right, one each day gets done, and that's how it comes out. And the light stuff you see on it is just a piece of tape. It's masking tape to keep the extra laminate from sticking to there. And then we peel that off and start from there and start forming our limbs and drilling and everything from that point. So that's how the limb comes out of the jig.
You can see some of the projects of the Ovid Elsie High School shop class taught by Everett Smith at the Practical Sportsman's Fair in Bath. A good duck hunter, according to Jack Wilson, not only knows shooting and decoys, but knows how to blow and tune a duck call. You have to know how to tune the call? I have trouble with my calls. I'll be calling out in the blind, you know, and then it'll get jammed. So I have to take it apart, and there's some crud in there. In fact, there's some crud in here right now.
Moisture is moisture is the big culprit, and it's really difficult, Fred, to tune a call that will dispel the moisture and still blow when you pick it up. Contest calls won't do that. Contest calls are so finely tuned, they'll play maybe in 4 octaves, and because they will, there's not enough room for the moisture to accumulate.
Oh, okay, now, you know, I can hear the contest.
We'll learn that, you see.
I can hear the contest callers in the marsh. They sound like a duck calling. It's quack, 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 you know.
They haven't learned really yet. And that's something I wanted to comment about, is that it's easy to teach a person to be a contest caller, especially if he's never been subjected to duck calling. We can teach him to blow the duck call and to call people. But then to teach him to call ducks, that's another ball game. So he has to, but he has to step up. He can make the call play. He has to learn how to play a different tune.
To talk to ducks.
Sure.
Okay,
talking to ducks is a lot different than talking to people. Some people think that duck calling contests, they're kind of crummy, hokey. Well, they are until you get involved. And then people, they get really intense and they really want to win those contests. They learn to play the calls very well.
But they're playing them in an arena where people are listening for the range of what they can do with a call.
Yes, they're demonstrating their ability to play that call in its full range.
So that's why the callers who take that to the marsh, they're playing like a symphony on a duck call, and it sounds like nothing you hear in the marsh.
That's wrong thing to take to the duck call or the marsh.
Now for the shooting side of duck hunting, let's go to our Practical Sportsman NRA Clay's trailer. So the shooter would have to take one bird and then the other. There's another station right here, which is one of my favorites. A lot of shooters like it. It's called springing teal. Now these traps are set so they throw the birds up in the air. There's some shooters that want to come and just shoot 50 rounds or 25 rounds in practice only on this station. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. The birds go nearly straight up in the air. You're shooting up over your head, as you oftentimes are in duck hunting. But watch the way this launches. I'll launch the right one first and then the left one. Right up, right up. The famous springing teal, John, this is one of your favorites. Okay, Jace.
Pull. Got one of them.
Okay, how about this time, throw them both together. Make it tough on him.
Ready? Yep. Pull.
You get them both?
Got them both.
No kidding.
Yeah. I hope you're getting this on tape.
I hope so too. Well, those targets move so fast, nearly straight up in the air, that they're difficult to follow and focus on with a camera, especially on an overcast day. But from this angle in slow motion, you can see the first one break. And after the second shot, you can see the broken target fall on the left. A pair of clay birds broken on the springing teal, hey, it's not all that easy. Now, at the beginning of the show, John Ford caught a big trophy walleye. And right now, Leroy Chupp has a great walleye recipe that was one of the finalists in our cook-off in March. Walleye with apples?
Yeah, it's an old recipe. We've tried up in Canada for probably 25 years. Had an old brick mason friend, and I decided to make it. And we add a little to it.
Huh.
It turns out real good.
I got to admit, I've had a little taste of that. And it is an amazing combination of flavors. But, Lo, look at the way Lois is looking at me.
It should be good. It should.
It should be. We will find out right now what the judges say about two walleye recipes that are very different. Let's start this one with Miss
That says it on one word. That's all I can say about both of these. They're both incredible.
Well, Kathy Beitler liked the apples, but voted for the other dish, and Chef Pat McGuire leaned the same way.
The walleye, an apple walleye, was very good too. I think the acid coming from the apple, took care of any fat that would be still there on the fish. And I think it was very good. But something I noticed.
But he voted for the other dish. Then Chef John McKenzie revealed that walleye and apples didn't sound that great before he tasted it.
I wasn't sure about the walleye and apple. I thought either hit or miss. It really hit.
What do you mean hit? You're pointing at nothing here.
Well, that's how well it hit.
Yeah?
It hit, it's gone.
Oh, John cleaned his plate and almost voted for this unique dish, as did Charlie Keenan.
Well, there comes a point in the contest where willpower really does have to take over. And you get two excellent dishes like this, and I could stop right here. I mean, I could just sit and eat the rest of that, sitting out there and just go home. That'd be it for me. They were both wonderful recipes. The apple, if you take this dish in the fall with fresh apples, it's got to be spectacular.
Well, to make a long story short, the apple walleye recipe was edged out, but the chefs all liked it, and it didn't lose by much. In defense of Leroy here, I noticed the scores, the second choice scores, in case we needed a tiebreaker, were 9s. That was close.
Thank you.
You had a very simple recipe that was very close. Congratulations, Lois. Leroy Chupp's recipe was top drawer, well worth trying. Apple and walleye is a combination that you'll probably find delectable. This recipe can be found in the June-July. If you could just take a minute and help me figure something out. The Atlas of Michigan says that our state has 56,117 square miles. Now, 3% is urban areas where people live. Another 3% is taken up by highways and transportation. 32% of the state is agricultural land, and half the state is forested. Now, the DNR has been telling us that we have 1.8 million deer. Now, if these deer are spread evenly over the 53,408 non-urban, non-transportation square miles, Michigan then has an average of 33.7 deer per square mile. Now, I know a lot of the agricultural land is plowed bare for a good portion of the year, and a large amount of our forests are too tall to sustain much wildlife. But when you subtract all of the areas where you know that deer aren't, how many deer per square mile do you think we have? Do you think it totals 1.8 million? I don't. Well, we still have plenty of these posters for our Practical Sportsman's Fair coming up the weekend after this one. Stop by the museum and pick one up. Write to us, call us. We'll send them to you so you can help publicize this event. Very important to us, especially this year. Get outdoors if you can, though, this weekend. It's a great place to be. See you next week. Next week on The Practical Sportsman, we'll have a variety of features, including some ideas for filleting panfish, a great little folding fish and game cleaning table that you can build from plans in the Practical Sportsman magazine. By the way, we've been trying a new way to mail out membership cards, putting them in plastic bags with the magazines. Hey, it's a good idea that saves money, but it takes way too long. Membership cards went out yesterday to all new Federation members. If you don't get yours in time for the Sportsman's Fair, we'll have a computerized list at the door so you can get in free. Next week, the Kicker Band will introduce the new musical theme song for this show, so be sure to tune in next week, same time, same station, for an all-new edition of The Practical Sportsman.